Boy, YouTube sure is glamorous. Howdy folks, you're watching Deuce. Today we're talking about night vision scopes. This is a night vision scope, an infrared night vision scope made by DNT Optics. I did not buy this, nor was it given to me. I was perusing through my local gun store, as I usually do, and they had a bunch of these on sale. They just got them in. Nobody knew anything about them really, so they had an open box version. They let me take it home to try it out, and these are my results. And yes, I do have to give it back when I'm done. We will focus on this side of the scope since the other side is very boring. We have a integrated lens cover, which is nice for the front. There's not one for the back, but there is one for the front. And hung on the side here is your infrared light. It's a very bright light that is focus adjustable. You can really make that a pinpoint way off in the distance or more of a floodlight. All, of course, is infrared. And behind here is also the battery pack, which is a standard 18650 battery. It powers this thing for many hours. And on top here is a rangefinder. Not all the models have the rangefinder option on there, but that is there. It's also, I think, part of the ballistics computer that's inside here. I didn't use that part of the whole shebang here, but it is available. On the back, we have the flexible eye cup, which is always good. Under this screw, you have the charging port and where you put your memory card, so you can take photos and videos of what you're shooting down range. I went ahead and mounted it on my AR-15 and took her to the bench range because I am currently developing a new load for my AR-15, my 5.56 AR-15s with this new hydrogen powder. I'm using the DNT Optics here, so let's go ahead and go to the maximum magnification. Let's go ahead and jump over to the left-hand top target. $29.58. Always write it down too, because you never know when all your equipment will fail you. $29.61. $29.51. Is that accurate? Holy shit, look at that. Aha. Found this scope very easy to dial in. It has an electronic, everything in here is electronic. It's a camera pointing out that way and a computer screen pointed toward your eye. There is no see-through anywhere in this scope. So everything is electronic in nature. It is still dialed in the same way. You shoot your bullet down range, you see where it hit, and then you move the reticle inside here electronically with these keypads up here to where your bullet hit. So then you know you're dialed in, you verify that with a second shot, and she's golden. And it really was just that easy. Quick bench range tip here. If you take your AR-15 to the bench range, go ahead and invest in either a 20-round magazine or this 10-round magazine. One of the two, whether it's straight, whether it's curved, either doesn't matter. I don't judge. The bench becomes way more pleasant with an AR-15 when you're using these smaller mags versus the big banana mag that hangs way down there. Here are some shots I got off right there. These are at 50 yards, so not super far. But again, I'm developing a load. It was very easy to dial this in very quickly. One thing that I find very cool and very helpful with electronic scopes like this one is the fact that you can set up different profiles for different either ammo or different rifles altogether. Once I was done dialing in for my AR-15, I saved that profile and then moved the scope onto a Savage 22 bolt action rifle, dialed the scope in on that rifle under a different profile. So I can take this off, put it on my 22 and just choose the other profile, and it is right on the money. I don't have to readjust or re-sight in when I move this from one rifle to another. That would also work for different ammo profiles. So I could use this and have a subsonic and supersonic 300 blackout mode, and I would be dialed in for each one of those. That is cool. I have been sprinkling in some of the footage here from the range, and I have an issue with that footage, and that's unfortunate because what you see up here on screen is not what you see through the actual eyepiece. When you use the scope during the day, it is a color camera and a color screen pointed toward you, so you see everything in bright, vibrant colors just like normal. But at night, it is infrared, which means it's going to be black and white through the screen, which is the major difference between infrared and thermal. DNT also makes a thermal scope, but I didn't borrow that one. I don't think one was available, unfortunately. Turn IR all the way up. Start recording. Oh wow, that is much clearer. Look at that. Nice. The white circle. Beautiful shots. Beautiful. All right, that's it. All right, well, the camera I'm filming on here is not waterproof, so I need to get this thing back inside. The optics, the DNT optics and everything else there is waterproof. And I'm about to fall on my ass here. So everything back there is waterproof, so I can get back and get that, but I got to get this camera up real quick. Whew. Boy, YouTube sure is glamorous. When shooting at night using the infrared option here, you're going to get a black and white image. So, not sure whatever critter that is, but you're going to look at that and it'll be in black and white. While the depth perception is going to be limited because you're looking through one scope and it's infrared and whatnot, you will still be able to see some stuff in the background, a tree or whatnot, and tell that that is behind versus in front of your target. A thermal, on the other hand, is going to look similar except for the fact that it's going to be completely bright and it will stand out with a bunch of yellow and orange and red highlights there. And that's telling you there's something hot right there, and it happens to be in the shape of a critter that you need to shoot. But one of the major problems with thermals is the fact that if the animal happens to be in a hot environment, then all that is completely obliterated by its surroundings. So if you want to shoot a lizard and it's sitting on a lizard rock, it's all going to be the same temperature and the same color. Two other issues with thermal imaging is the fact that most of the scopes have very low resolution for their thermal imaging properties. Also, the frame rate is very low usually, 20 or even below frames per second, which can be nauseating to some people when they're spending a lot of time looking through that scope. This scope, just using the infrared, has a resolution of 1080p, which is good, and it has a frame rate of, I believe, 60 frames per second, which is also pretty good. Not great though, because again, you're focusing all of your attention, all of your sight through that one scope. What I would like to see to improve this scope is jump the resolution up to 4K, which is not that hard to do. This right here is a 4K knockoff GoPro, and it does just fine. And this is years old, so I'm sure you can get them even smaller and more ruggedized to handle recoil. And on top of that, I would like to see at least a 90 frames per, I'm running out of room here, second. I would like to see 90 frames per second at 4K resolution, which is a already solved problem. There are inexpensive VR headsets that have tiny micro OLED screens and cameras that are 4K, and they operate at or above 90 frames per second. It's already solved technology. Unfortunately, what it's going to cost is more money. Because this is a camera pointed forward and a TV screen pointed towards you, and there's no throughput of the view, then you can manipulate that screen however you want. You can make it more vibrant, you can zoom in, you can do a picture-in-picture. I did my best to capture an example of the menu and the picture-in-picture option, which I think is one of the coolest parts of this scope. Another thing I don't like about this is the fact that the recording option does not record the screen, it records the view that it gets from the camera, and that's it. You can put the picture-in-picture option, and it has your normal screen, and then up here is a super close of the reticle. So you got the reticle down here, and then a little reticle up there with a zoomed in option there. So you always have a wide angle view and a close view at the same time. I don't know how they're going to sell these because they cannot be demonstrated except in person at night. And that's a tall order. That's a big ask because the video recording in this is nowhere near as clear as what you see yourself in person. I'm not sure if that's a commonality amongst most night vision scopes. I'm not sure. I've not played with a lot of them, but this one definitely shows a huge difference between what you see versus what's recorded. In conclusion, would I buy this scope? Not really, because I'm not in need of a night vision setup. I'm not really into night vision. I'm not really into night shoots. So I would not use the night vision options. If it had a much better recording of the screen going out, I would be able to use that in my normal videos during the day, but it does not record well enough for that. So I can't use it for that, and I'm not going to use it for night vision. So I'm not going to buy a night vision scope unless I can use it during the day to help out with video production. If you are looking for night vision options at a budget price, this does fit that bill if you need that. I'm not sure if the quality is up there with the more expensive options, but it worked. You know, that's what I can say, is that it worked at night vision. It works during the day as well, but don't expect much from that recording software inside this thing. You're not going to get a great recording out of it, but you will get a decent scope during the day and a solid night vision option at night. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button because I've got a lot more of this on the way. If you have any comments, questions, show ideas, leave that down in the comments down below. I try to answer as many of those as possible. Remember to check out Black Basin Firearms for all of your ammo stocking needs. Right now is one of the best times to stock up on ammo if you've not done that already. And as always, you guys have a great day. See ya.